Stop letting these men treat you like a kangaroo's ass crack and then still be running up after him.
Because men need women's labor to survive.
I decided that I wanted to blame it on a whole nother group of people, and that don't necessarily translate.
Chose bad men, allow bad men into their lives. So instead of taking accountability to do the work to choose better, I'll just say, you know what, I don't got time for men anymore.
With your feminine aura, how to use a fork and knife so a man will see that you're a classy lady and pay for your bills. Guys, please. And single. Come here a minute. Something happened to me at the end of 2024. And I just want to see, am I the only one that's there? I know I'm not, but like, I just need to talk to y'all. So, I have been one of those women who have been praying for a husband for a long time. And I go into these spaces where I'm like, I'm no longer focused on that. I don't want to focus on that. I don't even want to talk about it. And at the end of 2024, that's kind of where I found myself. And it was, after the whole dating app thing. And I wasn't really taking that serious, but if something would have happened, it would have been fine. But I've always been like, you know what, if God has somebody for me, that's fine. If he doesn't, that's fine. I've never really been the type of person who said, I'm just going to wait until I find a husband to do X, Y, and Z. That ain't never been me. But something different happened at the end of 2024. I had been hearing women say, decenter men, decenter men. And then I heard it again, and it's like it clicked. But then I saw this video, and it just did something to me. And that's not her only video. She has several. She's at a hotel in South Africa called Heaven Can Wait. I went and looked it up. And she's there celebrating her 60th birthday.
You're born alone and you die alone, and this world just drops a bunch of rules on top of you to make you forget those facts, but I never forget.
Now, in one of her videos, she's not looking out onto the water. She's actually on the beach. And she has like her 2 children, look like grown adult children, running towards her. No man in sight. I don't see this lady ever spend time with a man. I don't know if she has a man. I have no idea. And I said, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Maybe this is the goal.
So what's your plan? Get old? Die alone?
Maybe the goal is, let's just go enjoy life. Go places you ain't never seen before.
Look. I'm sorry. It's called lonely. Right? That's what it is. It's not decentering men. If you don't have a man, it's like if I don't have a girl, I'm going to stop going on trips. Say I'm not married to my wife. I'm going to stop living life. Nobody expects you to stop living life, but you're living life. And a lot of the things you're doing, like right now, the guy that's the man you want, he may be at home. He's not spending his money. He's saving his money. Why? Because men have learned, save it for a rainy day. That's what we learned. We have to save it because you never know what's going to happen and you never know when you're going to need it. And they're probably saving it to most likely get a woman in the future. So while we're saving, you're going on your girls' trips, decentering men, and blowing the bag. Right? You see the difference? I see a lot of ladies that are broke. I'm just a girl react to more black women are going broke, right? Decentering men and they're talking this talk. But what's really happening? Like seriously, is it loneliness? That's what it sounds like to me. They're struggling and hiding their loneliness behind decentering men. It's getting ridiculous now.
Women are going to keep themselves bitter, broke, and angry because they are mad at men. And they have this movement called decentering men. I don't think that it's new, but it's definitely a movement that is catching more waves called decentering men, where basically women are saying, that they are removing men from the center of their lives and they're not considering them. They don't care about them. They don't want to date them. They don't want to deal with them. They think that they're scary and all of this other dumb, because they think that men are a monolith, when in reality it's the culture a lot of times that keep you broke. And it also keeps you dating the same people that you don't want to take accountability for the person that you open up your lips to, have a child with, and now you got the results, and certain men don't want to deal with you and you're not getting the results that your mother or your grandmother had, and now you want to blame them and saying that they were under duress. In reality, they were happy and they had strong families, and it translated into a strong economy.
Sounds like that's what's happening. Well, I know that's what's happening. Come on now. Decentering men. As soon as I heard, I said, you got to be kidding me. Another one. Let me let him cook, though. He's cooking.
And a great neighborhood, and we tore it up when we decided that we want to remove the family, and now we want to have children out of wedlock. And then they're using red pill as an excuse for why they want to be angry instead of dealing with their trauma. And for the people in the back, in which I don't consider myself at all, not even remotely, as a red pill content creator. I've been successfully married. I have majority women employees for over 20 years. Successfully married for over 20 years. I'm majority employer women. I have a daughter that's awesome, and my wife is black, for everybody that keeps saying, hey, Anton, do you got a white wife? I don't. Red pill is just removing a veil from men's eyes to the reality of what they got to deal with in society, especially when it comes to relationships. It comes from the movie The Matrix, where the blue pill kept you in La La Land, where essentially you were given a perception of what reality is so that they can harvest you and use you as a battery. When in reality, if you took the red pill, if your mind was ready, it basically shows you that everything ain't all peaches and cream. This is the reality. It doesn't mean hate women. It doesn't mean that anybody is angry. And of course, there are going to be angry people, and I hate angry people on the far left or on the far right, whether it's politics or relationships. Anybody that's extremes in their view and not just talking about the reality and the truth, they're not good for society. But the reason why we're broken is because we don't have strong households. That is the number one way that you bring up community, and that you actually make sure that everybody and a dollar and strong people, and people go to college and they don't have debt and all of this stuff. But instead of us dealing with our trauma and dealing with the truth, we want to blame it on red pill. We want to blame it on a lot of different things. But one day you're going to wake up. One day you're going to wake up and you're going to say, you know what? All of these funky, evil people actually led me down the path of destruction. And instead of me holding myself accountable, instead of me being honest with who I am, I decided that I wanted to blame it on a whole nother group of people, and that don't necessarily translate. At some point, you have to take ownership and responsibility. And I'm not telling you that you got to go back to men, because men don't care. What I am telling you is that you don't want to wake up broke, angry, and hungry because you made the wrong decision of who it is that you wanted to follow.
No. Decentering men. That's your scapegoat, right? Your scapegoat for all of your problems is always men. The first thing to do, stop using men as your scapegoat, because that's what they turn to. They say, oh, red pill. I saw a woman say it today. She said, red pill and passport bros. And I'm thinking, going, because she's associating passport bros with the guys traveling for box. That's not a passport bro. And I'm looking at her going, how can you say passport bros when guys are doing the work? Right? But that's what they do. They look for someone to point to. They're sitting around like this all day.
What does that actually mean? I mean, all I hear is women talk about, if you stop focusing on men and decenter men, life will be better. Please help me understand, like, honestly, how has life been better? Tell me exactly what has happened so I can understand. Is this from a place of, I've been hurt, I've been broken, and the only option I have is to now just not do the work and just say, forget men? Because that's what I hear. I hear women say that they don't want to do the work. They went through some stuff with men, chose bad men, allowed bad men into their lives. So instead of taking accountability to do the work to choose better, I'll just say, you know what, I don't got time for men anymore. But please help me understand. Because women will say to me, just decenter men, your life will be better. Life is great. Great. So please, just help me understand. I really want to understand to get more clarity.
They don't know. It's the cool thing to do. That's what's happened. It's the new in thing for you to say that. That's why I use that video as the main video, because she's looking at an older woman who's alone, right? And going to Africa and taking these trips. And I'm thinking she probably can't get a man. Why is that, right? She could have divorced her husband. I'm just going off of what society does nowadays. That's what most women do. Divorce their husbands, right? That man came out here to the Philippines, got him a Filipino wife, right? Because older men can date younger women, and younger women could do the same thing, but usually it's not serious, right? It's not a serious relationship, but because they're not taking them serious, because women are hypergamous by nature, right? That's why it works for us passport bros. But what happened? A lot of you ladies are creating the passport bros. Do you know how many guys have came out here after their wife divorced them? Who said I have nothing? This is what happens. You divorce these guys, right? They don't have a penny to their name. They may start looking at my channel in the Philippines, right? And say, I got a little bit of crumbs, but I can go out to the Philippines. I got my retirement. It's crumbs, especially because it's retirement. She divorced me. She's in Africa saying decenter men after she divorced me and can't get a man, right? Let me cook. And I'm I either go out to Africa or somewhere else because it's too expensive for me now that you took all my money. So now I have to become a passport bro or an expat. And the cycle continues.
I always see people come on the internet talking about some decenter men. Baby, there are a lot of things you need to decenter, but men is not one of them. Let me talk you through what you need to start decentering. The first thing you need to decenter is desperation. Please. Stop letting these men treat you like a kangaroo's ass crack and then still be running up after him. Learn to see and identify and react to red flags. My choice! My choice! I love you guys, but I can't keep hearing, oh, I met this guy, I slept with him, then he ghosted me, and then he came back 3 months later. What shall I do? What do you mean, what should you do? What else can you do but have shame and move on with your life?
Exactly.
Please decenter desperation, because that is what it's giving. And I love you guys deep, but please let's stop letting these men.
Oh, she's cooking right now. She said decenter desperation, right? Because you're saying decenter men and you're decentering all men. And I said all the time, to guys that shouldn't be decentered, it's not given a chance. You can, he's a lame, whatever. That guy's a lame, right? But you're being desperate for the guys you shouldn't be desperate for. And it's a never-ending cycle. It repeats itself.
The second thing you need to decenter is sex on the first night. Stop sleeping with these men on the first night and wondering why you can't get a situation. And I don't want to hear about your best friend Sally June, who met her man on the first night and now they're married for 5 years. There's always an exception to the rule. For best results, assume it's not you. So if we assume that we are not the exception and understand that most men are led by their desire, the common sense thing to do when we are meeting men is to not give it to them early. And I beg of you, nobody come in my comments and talk about, oh, those are boys. Oh, no, I'm looking for good men. No, it's all men. It's all men. The reality is you can meet the best guy. If he's a good guy and he's got brains and smarts in his head, he is not going to respect you for sleeping with him on the first night because he knows you do not need to do that. He knows that you know that in society, it's seen as hoish to sleep with a man on the first night. And you've done it anyway. He's going to judge you. He can be the greatest guy on earth. It's 2 + 2 = 4. Decenter sleeping with men on the first night. Because what's the difference between sleeping with them on the first night and week 3? Apart from a complete lack of self-control. Have some self-control, ladies. You're going to be that good anyway. Damn. The third thing we need to decenter, ladies, is dating apps. Please decenter dating apps. Dating apps are a man's playground. Because, first of all, the reality is no valuable man, no sensible man, let me not say no. Most valuable and sensible men are not going on dating apps to find women because they don't need to. The easiest thing for a valuable man to find is women. Because, first of all, there's about 12 men that are type anyway, tall, good looking, got money. They have, if you like him, 300 other girls like him in your city alone. Like, men who are valuable have women throwing themselves at them. They don't need to go and join a dating app. Let me tell you who joins dating apps. The middling guys that nobody really wants that much, and they have to kind of work hard to get girls. But guess what? Guess where there's girls? And there's girls that are eager to meet men and eager to want to find their husband and willing to bring their standards down because they've been trying for so long and they can't find anything out there. Where? Dating apps. Because the truth is, nobody wakes up and joins a dating app as a woman. You try and date first, and then when you realize it's tough out here, you go onto the dating apps. No hate, no shade, but everyone on dating apps has struggled in the real world dating, and their dating app is their last chance. That's already a bad mentality to start dating with as a woman. But once a man knows that, men are predators. They take advantage of things. Why would a man not join somewhere where he knows the women are basically, in his mind, desperate? It's 2 plus 2. So you get these men with these mindset, and they're not going there looking for relationship, marriage, most of them. They're going there looking for, and they're going there looking for easy. So the dating apps are just a way worse version of dating in person. Please avoid them. The fourth thing you need to decenter is shooting your shot. I'm so sorry. Please stop shooting your shot. Please, please. Again, I know your cousin Jessie Ann shoots her shot all the time and now she's married with her husband. She was the exception, you are not. Especially if you are the kind of woman that is looking for a man to be an alpha, a head, especially if you're looking for a man to pay all your bills as well and to lead in life. It is very alpha to shoot your shot. And the thing is, men will always encourage you to shoot your shot because men want guaranteed pumps. That's the truth.
Well, I say this, right? Right now, with the way it is with men, and you ladies struggling to get a man, you have to shoot your shot. But let me let it continue. There's no choice, ladies.
If you shoot your shot, it's so much harder for you to kind of drag your feet on sleeping with a man because he's like, hold on, you came to me. So now you want me to chase you, but you brought it to me. I'm confused. The reality is a man who wants you will shoot his shot. He might not do it straight away. He might take him to build up his courage. But if a man sees you and he wants you, he's going to find a way to talk to you. And he's going to find a way to communicate and get your details or at least ask. Don't let this be confused with the men who just stare until the end of time. Listen, if that man is staring at you, not speaking, there's a reason he's not speaking. And it's usually because he's got a girlfriend. Ladies, please stop it. Stop shooting your shot at these men because you don't even know what they've got going on. And the fifth and final thing you should decenter is not working on your appearance. A lot of women are struggling in dating today, and let me be very real, because of how they look. You're not working on yourself, and nobody wants to talk about this because it's sensitive, but I love you guys, so I'm just going to be real. Work on your physical appearance. Look good, because at the end of the day, social media has created such a pressure in this dating game where you can just look at the most beautiful women at the tip of your fingers, and a lot of men have a lot of unrealistic expectations of how women should look.
Yeah, I mean, pretty decent list, but I say this. I say the way it is now and what she said at the end, right, hit home, I'm sure, with a lot of you. And if it didn't, it should have, because you ladies have to look good. I see you all of the time on the internet looking your best, but it is extremely important for you to look good. But not always will makeup, you know. It's important for you ladies to look good, and also, even if you have on makeup, make it look natural. work on your best to make your makeup look natural and go outside like that, go to the store like that, yeah, you have more of a chance.
I think the reason that the male loneliness epidemic is being taken seriously to the point where it's comical is because men need women's labor to survive.
The delusion.
And not in the sense that they can't survive on their own, but in the sense that they feel so entitled to labor from women and femme people that they refuse to survive on their own. Men view misandry and women decentering men as being just as harmful to men as misogyny is to women because they feel as though not having access to women's labor is equivalent to women unaliving them. Like, if you even look at statistics, they do not fare well when they do not have access to the caretaking aspect that a lot of women tend to provide. Basically, they view a man having a premeditated plan and going out of his way to unalive a woman as being the equivalent of women leaving them alone. And that's why they define misandry as women initiating divorces around 70 to 80% of the time, and why they think that women saying they don't need men is oppressive.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
Let me tell you something.
We don't care.
The overturning of Roe v. Wade, them threatening to overturn no-fault divorce are all desperate attempts they're making in order to continue having access to the tools they need to fulfill their lives. And I don't know, it just kind of sounds like they need to pull themselves up by their bootstraps or pick better women. I don't really know what to tell you.
You know what's the funny thing? She's going on and on. I saw this comment in her comment section, and it got 746 likes. She said, and I know for sure there's not a male loneliness epidemic. I know for sure there's not a male loneliness epidemic myself, but she said it. I still don't believe there's a male loneliness epidemic. I just don't see it. They seem fine to me. Yes, thank you. And this is a woman. She notices it. She's going, wait a minute. I see guys in different situations all the time. Maybe they're not going out, but they're fine. Why? Because they're men. These are men. Look, I gotta say it like this. When women try to be men, that lets you know the realness about men. Women don't understand men's plights, right? Men are ignored. They are. Men usually can live a solitary life with no one contacting them and be fine. Yeah, some men do break with loneliness. But I remember when I was in upstate New York, right? I was by myself all the time. For a whole year. By myself. You know, upstate New York is freezing. Yeah, think about the cold temperatures and me in a house somewhere, just chilling when it's warm. I go outside to the track by myself. Yes. Had my weights in the room, pumped weights by myself. It was like I was in jail. But you know what that does to a man? It builds him. Was I in a loneliness epidemic when that happened? No, I was fine. Functioning fine. I was by myself, but it was a loneliness epidemic. Well, not an epidemic with one person, but you guys know what I mean. I was lonely. Let me say it right.
A social community for black women and a space for them to make friends with other like-minded black women, I felt it was only right that I chimed in and gave my 2 pence on the Christabel situation. Now, for those of you who don't know, Christabel, a lovely, amazing, sweet, kind Instagrammer, influencer, came online the other day and shared her story about the fact that she went until about age 26 before she actually made a friend with another black person. And I want to be the first one to tell you, Christabel, you are not alone in this situation. You are so far from being alone with not having a lot of black female friends. At Black Girl Joy, I host a series of events for black women to come along, have fun, meet each other and make new friends. And I will say quite easily, if we have, say, 60 people come along to the event, 52 of those women, no exaggeration, I promise you, 52 of those women have come alone. The others might have come in like pairs, but everyone else has come alone, ready to make friends. those friends already, and they're coming because they do genuinely want to meet other black women. We literally have people coming along from the age of 21 right the way up to, we've had women in their 70s come along on their own, and they just want to make other friends because for one reason or another they haven't been able to do it. They haven't been able to enter their communities. There are various reasons, and Christabel has her own, but it's important that we know that this whole loneliness epidemic that we're experiencing in the UK at the moment isn't isolated to one group versus another, or whatever the case might be. Even within our own community, we are struggling to connect, engage and meet other like-minded people, and it can take time. Sometimes we do it in our younger ages, and some people are getting to like near the last few years of their life and they still haven't quite made those connections, and they still don't have that good best friend that they can turn to. It is assumed that you will always make your best friends when you're younger, and I think in London sometimes we assume because it is so diverse and multicultural that of course you're just going to make other female black friends or whatever friends at a very young age, but that's not always the case. Some people have the benefit of having friends and family locally who they can engage with and immerse themselves in their culture, and some people just don't. But definitely if you're someone who's into alternative activities, you don't necessarily want to do some of the cliche things that a young black person might be doing at a very young age, it makes it even harder to kind of engage, and it might take you a little bit longer to find those networks, connections and friends who actually want to do the things that you want to do. Now, when I think about my story, I actually do have lots of black friends, family. We all grew up together, cousins playing together, associating, and have a really big family on both sides. But I tell you what, even as a grown woman with black friends, I still don't have a lot of people in my life who always want to do a lot of the things that I want to do.
Every day, black cat, divine energy, how to find a man with your feminine aura, how to use a fork and knife so a man will see that you're a classy lady and pay for your bills. Guys, please. Do we all have at least £10,000 in our investments and our savings? How are we finding the bloody economic crisis we're in right now? How's studying going? How's your business going? For those of us that have kids, how are you finding baddie, social life, changing to like parenting? What are the parenting techniques? How are we all finding adulting, entering into our 30s or moving on from our early teens, 20s? Decenter men. The Bible says he who finds a wife, not she who puts herself in her black cat, Scorpio house, rising moon.
It's delusional.
Feminine, divine energy. Oh, guys, please, honestly, bloody hell, kaya.
Yeah. It's never going to be great, right? It's never going to get to a point where a woman relies on a man again. Yes, because that's what's supposed to happen in a relationship, and not take advantage of a man. Relies on a man for everything. I can see it happen sometimes with certain women. I saw this woman, this light-skinned woman, she was going off on y'all. She said, my man, my man, my man. I'm all about my man. I said, great. They still left because I left out, found mine. I'm not saying you can't find it back home. You can find it. It's just very hard. Why? Because some will hide and disguise themselves, right? As she said, black cat, right? That's what they are. Like black cats disguising themselves, waiting to pounce on you and eat you. They're lion cats, vicious cats. You need to be scared of. And men are very scared because men realize it's definitely more to life than being taken advantage of by women back home like that.
Brothers, what we do in life echoes in eternity.